Howdy, stranger.
Howdy.
Where you heading?
That's my business, mister.
Well, I guess it's my business, too, seeing as how this is my property.
This is your spread, huh?
That's right.
Well, I didn't mean to be short with you, mister. I've been riding a long way. I guess this dust has just dried out my good nature.
It's not too cold, but it's wet. Help yourself.
Thanks. Appreciate it. This the way to Virginia City?
Yeah, just over the hill, you pick up the road. You come to the fork, you bear right.
How far is it?
Oh, about an hour's ride.
That's about all me and my horse got left in us.
You plan on staying in Virginia City?
Yeah, I plan to stay there. As long as it takes me to get done what I've got to do. Didn't mean to be trespassing.
That's right. You rest your horse just as long as you want it. Good luck.
Same to you, mister.
I sing a song of pain and blood, the ballad of the Ponderosa. I sing of a man dead in the mud, 'neath the blood tree of the Ponderosa. Doug Preston died in innocence, swinging broken against the skies. Not a word of truth for him was spoken. Oh, damn Ben Cartwright, damn his righteous eyes.
Judge, you learn something new every day. Now, as long as we three have been having lunch together, this is the first time I knew our prosecuting attorney had a sense of humor. Thank you, partner.
It looks like I'm going to need a sense of humor. If this town stays as peaceful as it has been, there won't be any need for a prosecuting attorney.
Don't worry, Dave. Maybe Ben or one of his boys can arrange to get into a little trouble, and then you can become the public defender. Huh?
How soon before Roy Coffey gets back from his vacation?
Oh, about a week or so. You know, I practically had to file out a warrant against him to get him to take this month off.
That old hard-nosed, he thinks Virginia City just can't get along a day without him.
Well, let's not tell him what a good job Deputy Sims has been doing, huh?
Well, entertainment at lunchtime. This town's getting more and more like San Francisco.
Well, come on over here, young man. I see you made it without too much trouble.
Yes, sir, I did. No trouble at all. What's your pleasure, gentlemen?
Judge? Just about anything's all right with me.
Well, in that case, I'll do a favor to mine.
I sing a song of pain and hate, of a town full of death and lies. Doug Preston was lynched 'cause they couldn't wait. Oh, damn Ben Cartwright, damn his righteous eyes. Frank Stanley was murdered on a lonely night. Ben Cartwright called the truth a lie. Doug Preston was the only one in sight. Dave Sinclair said he had to die. Judge Borman sat with icy eyes. Doug Preston would not go free. No justice under frowning skies, just blood on the roots of the hanging tree.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. I seem to have picked an unpopular tune.
Who are you?
Coulter's my name. Coulter Preston.
Preston.
That's a pretty famous name around here, ain't it?
Boy, that was a long time ago. It's forgotten by now.
Well, I ain't forgot it. You see, I'm Doug Preston's son. Y'all seem mighty interested in my song. How about you, Cartwright? You want to hear some more?
I apologize, gentlemen. All right, young man, this is quite enough. I run this hotel, and you're disturbing my guests.
Wait a minute. Mr. Simpson, I think Mr. Sinclair, Judge Bowman and I would like to hear this young man out.
Well, well, what do you know? All three together. The three men responsible for my father's death.
I don't have to listen to this.
That's right, Judge, you don't. Why don't you just lynch me like you did my pa?
No one condones that lynching.
But they still claimed he was guilty, and that's a lie. Another man killed Frank Stanley, and that man went free, while my father was lynched by a mob for a crime he didn't commit.
Would an innocent man break jail before his trial was over?
My father tried to get away because he knew he didn't have a chance, with a so-called eyewitness and a hanging judge waiting for him.
I'm sorry, Ben. I've had just about enough.
That's all right, Judge. You just run along. But just remember, I'm going to keep singing that song. I got my rent paid up at this hotel, and there ain't no law against singing.
Why are you doing this?
Justice in the memory of an innocent man. And don't you try and stop me. A guitar ain't no gun, and singing ain't no crime. Good day, gentlemen.
Doug Preston ran to save his life. The innocent must be free. His frightened cry stopped late that night when they lynched him on the great blood tree. Frank Stanley was murdered on a lonely night. Ben Cartwright called the truth a lie. Doug Preston was the only one in sight. Dave Sinclair said he had to die. Judge Borman sat with icy eyes. Doug Preston would not go free.
What are you doing up here, Paul?
Oh, thinking.
Something wrong?
I don't know. Remember yesterday I told you I met a young man out here when I was on my way back home?
I mean, the one with the guitar?
Yeah. Yeah, the one with the guitar. That boy's Doug Preston's son.
Yeah, Doug Preston, yeah? He had a boy. He left here years ago.
Yeah, he did. His aunt took him away right after his father died. But he's back. And he's grown to be a very bitter young man. Oh, not that I can blame him after what he's been through. He believes his father was innocent.
I guess it'd be pretty rough for any boy to accept the fact that his father was a murderer.
There's a lot more than that, Joe. A whole lot more. He blames his father's death on Judge Borman, Dave Sinclair, and me.
That don't make sense. You three did more than anybody else trying to stop that lynching.
I know. But there was a lynching.
Do you think his father was innocent? Doesn't he know you saw his pa run out of the barn the night of the murder?
Refuses to believe it.
If he won't believe the truth, there's nothing you can do.
Well, I was thinking maybe there is. If one of you boys believed in something as strongly as he does, I sure hope there'd be someone that you could talk to about it. I think I'm going to ride into town and see if I can't get through to that boy somehow. I'll see you tonight.
Be careful, Paul.
Good evening, Mr. Cartwright.
Simpson? Is the Preston boy in his room?
No, he's not. He's probably still running around town singing that song and raising a fuss. He's been at it all day. I guarantee you, Mr. Cartwright, that I'll have him out of this hotel just as soon as he gets back.
Why? Has he broken any laws?
No, but...
Did he do any damage in the hotel?
No, Mr. Cartwright.
Come over to the chair. What happened to you, boy?
Somebody jumped me in the alley.
I'll get a doctor.
Then you don't have any idea who beat you up, huh?
Already told you, Sheriff, it was too dark to see. Somebody hit me from behind and started working me over. Could have been anybody. I don't have very many friends in this town, Sheriff.
You have any ideas, Ben?
Well, boy's right. He doesn't have too many friends around here. He's caused an awful lot of unrest since coming, but I can't think of anybody who'd get angry enough to do this.
I know somebody that'd be angry enough.
Well, who's that?
The man that murdered Frank Stanley.
Oh, now, just a minute, boy. You ride into town and sing a ballad that makes a lot of loose charges and doesn't offer proof of one of them.
Oh, come on, Sheriff. You think somebody beat me up just for practice? I think somebody in this town thinks I'm getting pretty close to the truth. And they're trying to stop me. I waited 15 years to clear my father's name. The only way anybody's gonna stop me now is to kill me.
There's a bitter young man, Ben.
Yeah. Well, he has a right to be.
Oh, that lynching was 15 years ago. It was wrong. The whole town knows that, but it's over and done with now. The boy's father would have hung anyway. He was guilty.
Yeah, I guess he was. I sure thought so then.
Well, but Ben, the evidence.
Yeah. The evidence. Do me a favor. Ask Judge Borman and Dave Sinclair to meet me at the hotel.
Well, it's awful late, Ben.
Yeah, it is late. Maybe 15 years late. Gentlemen.
Andy, Ben.
Thank you for coming out so late at night. It's real friendly of you.
Friend or no friend, it better be important, Ben.
Well, I think it's important. Somebody beat up the Preston boy tonight.
Yes, the sheriff told us. But frankly, I'm not surprised, Ben. The boy was looking for trouble.
It's only human nature, Ben. People don't want to be reminded of the lynching, so they strike out at whatever brings up the memory.
That's one possibility.
What's the other?
Well, maybe it's crazy, but I got a strange notion that maybe somebody's trying to keep the boy quiet to protect themselves. Judge, I'd like to go back over the trial records.
But it was an open and shut case, Ben. You yourself saw Doug Preston come out of the barn after the killing.
You had no doubts 15 years ago.
I know I didn't. I know. But that boy was beaten up tonight. Judge, maybe we missed something at the trial. I think we owe it to ourselves and to the Preston boy to make sure that nothing is overlooked.
Well, if you feel that strongly about it, Ben.
I do, Judge. I'll stay in town. We can start going over the records first thing in the morning, if that's all right with you.
All right.
Night, Ben.
See you in the morning.
Mr. Simpson, I'll be staying here the night. Could I have my usual room?
Well, certainly, Mr. Cartwright. There you are, sir. I hope there's no trouble.
Sure hope not. Harold? What are you doing up this time of night?
Mother couldn't sleep. She was sitting by the window. Saw you come in the hotel. She wanted to talk to you.
About the Preston boy?
Yes.
Does she know who he is?
No, but she heard him singing. Look, if you could just go upstairs and talk to her. Tell her everything's all right. I'm sure she could sleep then.
Yeah, sure.
Mother, Ben Cartwright's with me.
Ben. Thank you for coming to see me. Sit down.
Thank you, Lisa. Well, I hear you've been a bad girl. You haven't been resting as much as you should.
Oh, I will. I just wanted to talk to an old friend for a few minutes.
That's good to see you.
Who is that boy? The one with the guitar. Who is he, Ben?
Well, just a boy with a guitar. No reason for you to bother about it.
I keep telling her that, Mr. Cartwright.
There's every reason. Doug Preston was hanged for the murder of my husband. Ben, who is that boy?
Well, you seem determined to know about it. He's Doug Preston's son.
Doug Preston's son.
Yep. I guess the town forgot about that boy.
Yes, I imagine most of the town did forget.
You heard him singing. He's convinced that his father didn't kill Frank. And he's just come here to find whoever it was that did, if anybody else did.
Do you think it was someone else?
No, I find it hard to believe it was anybody else, but... Well, somebody beat up that boy tonight. Why? See what I've done by telling you?
No, you've helped by telling me. It's worse wondering and not knowing. One imagines so many things.
Yeah, that's true. It sure is true. Now Lisa, you get yourself a good night's rest.
Thank you, Ben, I will.
Good night.
Good night.
I don't like that guitar player.
You're not the only one who don't like him, Hank.
He's got no right singing about the posse. I don't care if he is Preston's kid. It was a good posse. We did what we had to. I was in it. In fact, you were too, weren't you?
Yeah, I was in it all right.
Hey, you. We don't want to hear no more of your songs. As a matter of fact, we don't want you around here no more. You look at me when I'm talking to you. We don't want the son of a stinking murderer hanging around this town.
Stay away from the car. Take your fight outside! Take your fight out!
Sorry I'm late, gentlemen. It's all right, Ben. This may all be unnecessary now.
What does that mean?
The sheriff was in to see us a few minutes ago. He had to lock up the Preston boy last night. Seems he got into a fight in the saloon and did a pretty good job of smashing it up.
Yeah, he couldn't pay the damages, so the sheriff's going to let him cool off for a few hours and then escort him out of town.
And that'll be good riddance.
Well, whether the boy leaves or not isn't going to change anything for him or for us. We've got to make the boy see...
See what? To see that the evidence is right? Van Preston was guilty as charged. We all agreed on that 15 years ago.
Yes, Dave, we did agree. But maybe we were just a little anxious. If you remember, the man we were trying had already been executed. I'll go over to the sheriff's office and see what I can do for the boy. Meanwhile, will you fellas start going over the evidence?
We've been doing that, Ben. We'll get back to it.
Thank you.
All right, boy. Your bail's been paid. You're free to go.
Who paid it?
Mr. Cartwright.
Son, there's work for you to do and a place for you to stay if you want it.
You're offering me a job?
Why not? There's always room for an extra ranch hand at the Ponderosa. And you look like you've been around cattle, son.
You think I'd be fool enough to accept I'd ride out to the Ponderosa with you? I might never ride back.
Why don't you just let me lock him back up, Ben?
Leave me alone with him for a bit, will you? Son. Son, I'd like to be a friend. But I reckon you don't believe that, do you?
You're right, I don't.
But you do want to know about your father, don't you? Whether he was guilty or innocent. I've got the judge and the prosecuting attorney working on the evidence, just in case they missed something 15 years ago.
You're doing that?
I want the truth as much as you do.
I don't believe you.
All right.
wait a minute. I'll go with you. But don't expect any thanks for what you're doing. This town still murdered my father. And you're part of this town. Son's name?
Adam.
Oh, yeah, Adam. He play the guitar much?
Oh, yeah. All the time. We kind of miss it. You're welcome to use that one while you're here.
Thanks a lot. I've never had one this good.
Where'd you learn to play?
Just picked it up. I used to listen to my father a lot when I was real young. He was a fine guitar player. Made up songs by the hour.
You seem to have the same gift.
Oh, no. All my father's songs were happy songs.
I bet you could make up a happy song if you tried.
Well, there's one thing I'd have to find out first.
What's that?
What it's like to feel happy.
Well, look, you get yourself cleaned up. I'll see you at supper. Hop Sing, that was delicious. You've outdone yourself again.
Young man no like. He eat less than bird.
It was fine. I just wasn't very hungry.
Don't worry. Mr. Hoss, he finish it all anyway. He only one who eat good. Hop Sing stand over hot stove all day. Nobody eat. Pretty soon now Hop Sing quit. 真係啊，日日都係咁樣啦，冇用，真係啊。
Here, don't let him down. Mr. Cartwright, you said something about going over those records again.
Yes, matter of fact, Judge Borman and Dave Sinclair have been working on them all day. I'm going to join them tomorrow.
I certainly would like to see those records.
I think that'd be a very good idea. Tell you what, we'll go to town together first thing in the morning.
Paul, I was sort of figuring on going into town tomorrow anyhow. Is there anything I can do?
Yeah, you can ask Dave Sinclair to bring out a copy of the records with him out to the ranch.
Hey, I'll go with you so you don't get lost.
Mm-mm. Huh? Plenty of work for you to do here tomorrow, and don't try to get out of it.
Well, in that case, I think I'll turn in. I'll see you.
I think I'll hit it too, Paul. Night. Night, Calder.
Good night.
Night, Hoss. I guess I better turn in, too. I didn't get much sleep in that jail last night.
Calder, there's something that I'd like to ask you. Don't quite know how to put it. Well, I suppose the best way is flat out, man to man. What has made you so sure all these years that your father was innocent?
Because he told me. And my father wouldn't lie to me, Mr. Cartwright. He said he was innocent, and I believed him deep in my heart.
Well, one of us has to be wrong. Has to be. And that one is going to have to face the truth and accept it.
Yeah, I know that, Mr. Cartwright. I know. time you think they'll be here, Mr. Cartwright?
Oh, they'll be here by now. Around 11, I guess.
That's really a nice piece.
Hey, you've got a good eye, young fella. You know who gave me that? Sam Cole himself. That's a beauty.
I've never seen a collection as nice as yours.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. It's an interesting piece. It's a Belgian blunderbuss. And that middle one there, those are two English carriage pistols. Those are Buccaneers pistols up there. Yeah, the pirates used to stick them in their sashes. Oh, I think they're coming. Look at that. Paul! In here.
Paul, what happened?
Kohler shot himself by accident. He only creased his side, but I think we'd better get him into the sea, Doc Martin. Get some hot water, will you?
You won't be able to lie your way out of it this time, Cartwright. He tried to kill me. You hear? He tried to kill me.
What happened? What's all the excitement?
They got Ben Cartwright in there. He tried to kill that singer fella.
Ben Cartwright?
You heard me. The kid's accusing him of attempted murder. Hey, Hoss, wait a minute. What's going on?
They lock him up, Joe?
Look, boys, we can't say anything yet.
Well, we just asked a simple question. What's the difference? It'll be in the paper, won't it?
It's in the paper. You can read about it. Mother, I don't understand why you're getting so excited. I've already told you for the 10th time I'm not trying to keep anything from you.
For 15 long years, I've sat at the window, Harold, watching the street down there. I've seen things that nobody else has ever seen. I know things about this town that nobody else will ever know. This afternoon, I saw Ben Cartwright and his two boys ride into town with Doug Preston's boy and Dave Sinclair. I saw them go into the jail. But I didn't see Ben Cartwright come back out. Tell me, Harold.
Mother, you know what the doctor said about you getting upset.
Tell me, Harold.
All right. Doug Preston's boys accused Ben Cartwright of trying to murder him.
Thank you, Harold.
I was just trying to spare you the upset. It'll all blow over.
Yes, of course.
Don't you think you ought to go to bed now?
No, no. You go on to your room. I just want to sit here for a while.
The truth was lost for 15 years. Ben Cartwright rode tall and free, but now his sons will know my tears as their father swings from the hanging tree. I sing a song of pain and blood,
You're gonna die. Mr. Cartwright, you're gonna die just like my father did.
You're saying just because it's Ben Cartwright, it couldn't happen?
I didn't say it couldn't happen. I just said I don't think it did.
Well, what the kid says makes a lot of sense to me. Ben beat him up to scare him off, and when that didn't work, he tried to shoot him.
What do you think you are, the judge or something?
I got a right to say what I think. Now, not everybody around here thinks the Cartwrights are as pure as you do. To get that big, you got to tromp on somebody along the way, and that's a fact. Shh. How come he took the kid out to the ranch? Can you explain that?
Hush up, will you?
And then, Mr. Cartwright, you not only posted bail for this boy, but you went even further and invited him out to the ranch. Can you explain why you did this?
Well, I felt badly for the boy. He was it seemed to me, a bitter young man who was destroying himself, I thought, because of a mistaken idea he'd been living with for 15 years.
I didn't make any mistake. I've already proved what I came here to find out.
Go on, Mr. Cartwright.
I figured if I could get through to Coulter, get through to his mind, have him live with a family, something which I guess he didn't have a chance to do before. Have people around him who weren't filled with hatred.
You say, have people around him. Your sons, is that what you mean?
Yes, that was my intent.
Well, on the day in question, were your sons present?
No, sir, they were not.
Then you and Coulter Preston were alone to Ponderosa.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
He even sent little Joe on a wild goose chase the other end of the ranch, and he sent Hoss into town on some kind of errand, and there wasn't even a hand on the place.
Young man, you will remain quiet until you're questioned, or I shall instruct the deputy to remove you from the courtroom and hold you in contempt.
Now, Mr. Cartwright, on the night of the previous assault, you admit then that you were in town, that you were in the vicinity of the assault, and at exactly the time it happened.
That's right.
Then you could have been the man who gave Coulter Preston a beating.
If you're referring to the time and place, yes, I could have done it, but I didn't.
But he could have.
He's answered the question.
Well, what kind of hearing is this? Are you just going to listen to what you want to hear? Is this the kind of trial you gave my father?
Order! Order! Lisa.
She insisted, Judge. I couldn't stop her.
You don't miss a bit, do you, Cartwright? Bringing in the widow of the murdered man to get sympathy for you.
Sit down.
I have a right to have my say. What's the matter, Cartwright? Afraid of the truth? Did you see my father coming out of the barn that night, or did he see you?
Deputy, you sit this boy down in that chair.
Isn't that the truth, Cartwright? Go ahead.
All right, come on, boy. Come on, sit down. I'll sit down. Sit down and behave yourself.
If he gets up or opens his mouth again, take him out of here and lock him up.
Doggone it, David. It just don't make sense. If Pa intended to shoot Coulter, why'd he wait till me and you got there to see it?
The witness will please answer the prosecutor's question.
I repeat, as soon as we arrived, we heard a gunshot. We ran into the house. Ben Cartwright was there. Colter Preston was gripping his side. He'd been wounded by a gunshot. Well, Hoss. Speak up, Hoss. Wasn't that the way it was?
Yeah, that's right.
You'll have to speak up so the court can hear.
I say, yes, that's right.
Your Honor, in view of the evidence, I ask that Ben Cartwright be charged with assault and battery, and with assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill.
Ben, if you have anything to say, if you have another line of defense. Ben, your only defense so far has been your conviction that the boy's lying.
He is lying, Judge. He may not know he's lying, but he is.
Please. Order! How can you be so sure, Lisa?
Because my son and I have lived with a lie for 15 years.
Well, then I'm not going to let you do this.
You'll let me, Harold. In a way, it'll be like getting out of prison. Should have been said 15 years ago. It should have been said the night my husband was killed. I was in the barn that night, Ben. That's what you didn't see. Doug Preston and I were in the barn and my husband came in. My husband was a violent man. You knew that, Ben. But for my sake, you tried to ignore it, but you knew it. There were other women, a lot of drinking. I was terrified what he might do to my son in one of his drunken rages. I needed someone that would understand, give me sympathy. We didn't mean it to happen, but we fell in love with each other. We planned to run away together, take our 2 sons with us.
She's lying!
Deputy!
Listen, my father was taking me away with him. He would have told me if he had any interest in that woman. You're a liar, woman!
Frank began to suspect us. We were in the barn that night and Frank came in. There was a horrible argument. Doug Preston drew his gun and fired.
No, that's not so!
Doug ran out of the barn. That's when Ben saw him. I hid in the loft and I saw Ben come in and look down at my husband, lying there dead. Doug was afraid. He was guilty and he was afraid. He told me he was going to try to break out of jail, and I encouraged him. We'd meet someplace. I told him I'd take care of his son, Colter. But he wanted the boy with him. If he hadn't stopped that night to pick up the boy, the posse might never have caught him. Don't lie, Colter. Please don't lie. Haven't enough lives been ruined by lies already?
You have anything to say for yourself now, Colter?
did lie. I shot myself.
And that other beating in the alley?
I did that too. I just beat my head against the wall, pretending I was beating my head against Ben Cartwright, beating the truth out of him. I had to know the truth. I had to know the truth.
Well, you know it now. Charges against Ben Cartwright are dismissed. Court stands adjourned.
My father lied to me. He said that he was innocent. And if I hadn't really believed him, I wouldn't have caused anybody this much trouble, especially you.
He lied to you because of his love for you. Forget the lie, remember the love. That's what I remember. That's what I was trying to protect.
Lisa told her what would happen. Someday the hatred will be gone, and you'll remember only the love. You know, he once said to me that he'd never sung a happy song. He didn't know how. Maybe he will now. Sure hope so. Let's go.